All right, so this is Decent We the People News. One more time at it, y'all. Okay, now, to be perfectly blunt and straight with you, I'm not an attorney and not giving legal advice. Anything I say or do is just my opinion of my research and overall just my opinion. Because I just don't never look straight forward. I look around me and be able to protect myself by any means necessary. We got to clearly understand certain words. And we got to ask the question, how does that apply to I? Okay. Uh, this is an interesting deal, and this is by the YouTube BSO Guns channel. GUN, not guns, gun channel. Okay. I accidentally came across him. Love what he put out. And this was actually a very serious thing we need to kind of listen to. Even though I agree with this guy, we need to go into a little deeper in depth, right? Because this lady is calling out the ATF. But remember, y'all, shit rolls downhill. And we keep tacking the people down below. This is a congresswoman. If she does not like what the ATF is doing with the statute, she needs to go in there and rewrite the statute to be clear and concise and not being vague. Well, like I say, absolute vague and ambiguous, absolutely. Right? The average man needs to understand it easily, not these complicated things. And this is what we're having problems with. Congress passes statutes and leaves it so open and broad that the administrative goes in there and makes up their own thing. And then the Supreme Court decides what the statute says, and what the definition is when it's Congress' job. It's not the Supreme Court when they overturned Chevron. It's not their job to interpret the statute. It's up to Congress to write it clearly and unvague and unambiguous so me and you can understand what the statute says. So, if you guys have any problems with the ATF, first thing you need to do is write and learn how to write, okay? Period. A petition of regress of remonstrance to Congress to clear up the statute. All right. It's a everything they can do is the creature of the state. Okay, that's a business. Creature of the state is a business. All right, and it does not apply to men and women. However, the person is a business under the legal definition they use. So again, they're using person, absolute, vague, and ambiguous, absolutely, and unclearly telling you what it is, even though it's clearly in the paper. You just got to look for it all over the damn countryside. But this being said, I love how direct she is, but the one thing she needs to do, if she doesn't like it, go in there and clear that statue up.
Thinking, and I'm sorry to inform you that she is already married. You missed your opportunity, but without further ado, Victoria Sparks versus Steve Diddleback.
My question is related to these changes under your rule and definition, what is engage in business rule. Do you think criminals that want to do something criminal are going to read your 500 pages of definitions? Are they going to read your 500 pages of definition explanations?
Okay, we're going to stop right there, right? There's 500 definitions. What did Congress do? They left it open. Absolute, vague, and ambiguous, absolutely, where this guy could come up with 500 different definitions. And Congress did that by design. Get in touch with your congressmen and women and tell them to clean that statute up. Period. Okay? She's passing the buck to this one guy. And I don't know how long she's been in office, but she needs to realize this. This is on her. This is not on ATF. Now, do I agree with ATF and them overbroading this? No, they're administrative. Okay? And 95% of the unconstitutional law is due to the administrative interpretation of statutes that Congress never clearly established beyond reasonable doubt.
I think that I don't know who will read it, but
Do
I
you
think
think
that
criminals
I
will
think-
be doing that?
I think that it will also encourage, as I said at the beginning, hopefully increase compliance with the law among people who
So you
perhaps.
understand that criminals are not going to be reading this, okay? But what is it going to do to law-abiding citizen like Brian Malinowski that potentially was just doing, selling these guns, and I don't know the whole circumstances, but he's dead because he was not probably realizing what you were doing in changes of this rule. So my question is for you is going to be, do you understand how dangerous your definitions have become?
Respectfully, our definitions are based upon the
Do you
law that
understand that-
Congress passed, and it is based upon
The
our observation
interpretations.
and experience in the field.
Interpretation. So let's just go to
No.
your definitions. As a normal American,
It's based
I
upon-
understand your
It's
definition.
implementation.
500 pages.
It's implementing Congress's law.
Okay, but how are you going to implement? I want to understand. I am a gun owner, and I'm going to decide occasionally, say, guys, occasionally I can do maybe 100 times, maybe 5 times. You know what? I am not engaged predominantly a profit. That I don't even have time to do a profit. So at which point, as a regular American citizen, so I understand that you are not going to cut off my electricity, show up to my house, and try to storm the house with a bunch of people that you don't even realize what's going on. So I can be in a situation like a lot of other Americans that don't even realize that now you're redefining who the dealer is. So I want to get understanding. Summarize me understanding how I can explain to my constituent what it means now and how I am predominantly earn a profit in this. What is really definition of that?
The stat.
Now, I'm going to pause there again, right? There is a Supreme Court that separates from private and the public, okay? I keep on wanting to think Marbury versus Madison, but it's not. It's Hell versus Hinkle. All right? Read that. Hell versus Hinkle, okay? So, even if I want to sell my carry-ons for YouTube channel purposes, even if I want to sell it for $10 more, that is a private contract. All right, and I'm still not creature of the state. Okay, I did not get a business license, so everything actually applies to business commerce section. But as me, one of the people, right? I have a right to conduct business in a private contract with another man, another one of the people, without government intrusion. Hell versus Hinkle. Okay? And she's not saying this, but she's kind of saying, hey, I'm trying to want to sell this, but you guys are telling me I can't do it, and if I do it, I have to have some type of ID. No. Or business, I had to be some type of creature of the state, right? And I got to be of one like kind. So, in order to sell my luggage, right? Now I got to turn around and become a creature of the state of being a one like kind of a business person under their definition.
Statute that Congress passed says that if you're engaged in the business of dealing firearms, quote, predominantly for profit, right, that requires a license. There are some exceptions then that Congress has passed, and respectfully, people may not read the statutes either. They should, though, if they're selling firearms. These aren't possessors. These are people who are reselling firearms repetitively for profit. And I don't think it's too much to ask for somebody who is selling firearms repetitively for profit.
So what is repetitively
the law.
means? What is occasional repetitively? If I decide, I have lots of guns, and I decided to, I want to replace with something else, but I have 50 guns I'm going to sell this year. You just decide that I'm for profit. I don't know, maybe they will be for profit. Definitely no one, was going to sell it at a loss, right? And with your rules, probably prices I keep increasing. So, I'm going to become a dealer now? I have to be registered in that?
Again, I've tried to explain, and I'll
No, I'm
continue
trying to explain. So what do you do? What is really going to be now your new definition because it's so broad.
It's not a new definition. It implements Congress's definition. Congress changed
Yes,
definition.
and you put 500
Congress-
pages of explanation. So can you
It's-
summarize
it's
it
a-
normal, plain language an American can understand?
I believe that
Again, it's Congress who is supposed to actually do the definition in plain English and easily interpreted by the average man and woman. It's not up to this man here. Regardless how much I don't like him or hate him, or regardless how much I love him, right? The simple fact of more than anything else, this is on Congress, period. This is your representative. Go attack them. Do not attack him, right? There's 500 pages. Well, Congress is the one that left it so broad, and he gets to go in there and decide this, and this. Now, they keep bringing this up, right? But it's Hell versus Hinkle. I have a right to a private matter to another man or woman. But you cannot do this in person under creature of the state of business entity. It has to be a private.
our positions they're not secret. They're in
Yeah, but
court.
explain.
They're filed.
You're reading 500
The
pages
rule-
that are confusing.
The rule seeks by providing practical conduct-based things that normal people could.
Yes,
for instance,
please explain.
one of the things that can result in people, depending on all the circumstances, is you take credit cards for payment. That could be one of the signs that somebody's in business. You read one of the things that
So, like,
might
so
be
if
on
I
the
use
other
that little
side.
app and then
one
I
of
sell
the
a gun
things-
and take a credit card and potentially will be a dealer?
One of the things that might be on the other side is if you're occasionally dealing or gifting to family members, right? We try to say things on
My
both
time has
sides.
expired, but I'll tell you, you put American lives in danger and your ATF life in danger by doing this because you doing gun control. It is a very clever way to make everyone in dealer have a zero tolerance and exercise gun control and Second Amendment rights. But you put your people in danger and American people. I yield back.
You know what I hate more than anything? Terrible Chinese products. Did you know that those little things will shatter if you drop them from shoulder?
I've watched that video 5 times, and I like it more each time that I watch it. I wasn't even planning on making a video today, but then I stumbled across this gem. And I tell you what, she's absolutely right. And that is precisely the reason, if you listen to the rest of the hearing, that I've been suffering through for you. I'll be bringing you more updates from the hearing of what all went down. But that is the reason that the rule is currently being enjoined. Because there is a frivolous and arbitrary, vague description of what constitutes business dealings in firearms. It was vague before the new rule was proposed, and it is way worse now. And I think the embodiment of the fact that they took a couple lines from the legislature and created 500 pages plus of regulation around it embodies the exact sentiment that every single person who has any kind of inkling about maybe moving a firearm here or there is feeling right now.
All right, so we're going to leave it there. If you want, without my interruption, right, go to the BSO Gun channel, okay? But this, and I had to pardon this guy a little bit. I understand what he's getting at, okay? But again, I had to remind people this is heavily important. We got to learn how to do in writing, a petition of our grievance or monstrance and have a clear understanding of the statute where this administrative cannot impose their will on a non-business, non-creature of the state, and a of one like kind of the person. They're not going to do that. However, this is where everybody that believe in their A amendment or number 2 amendment, right? You gotta have to do this correctly. You're not getting nowhere with 500 people in this administrative that has no, well, you just can't go in there and say, hey, I'm gonna sue you under the Commerce Clause. Right? So you got to get in there and actually learn how to do this in writing and do that petition to do a full effect and actually be called on to the Congress floor and let your purpose be brought up. That petition or redress or grievance is your court. You're taking Congress to court. And Congress does not need to let the Supreme Court interpret nothing, because Congress is supposed to have everything clearly established. An average man or woman can read, and it's not complicated. We got sections over here for the people. We got sections here for businesses. Congress, it's not complicated, but Congress is doing it on purpose, on design, to violate everybody's right. Just because one stands up for your right, there's 90 of them not standing up for your rights. And I yield to the lady. She is direct, but needs to do her own research and start filing her own petition and see about getting that statute clear so there is no misconstruction of the administrative ATF. This will be the People News. Bye, y'all.